My dear sisters, today I want to remind you of a truth that is as timeless as the stars and as sure as the rising sun. You are a woman whom God favors. This is not because of your strength or your achievements, but because of who God is, merciful, gracious, and full of steadfast love. In a world that often measures worth by appearances or accomplishments, God sees beyond all of that. He sees your heart. He delights in you. The Bible tells us that His favor is like the morning dew, fresh and renewing, available for all who walk in His ways. You might feel ordinary, overlooked, or even unworthy at times. But let me tell you, God's favor is not reserved for the perfect or the powerful. It rests on those who trust Him, who seek Him with all their heart, and who walk humbly in His presence. When God favors you, doors open that no one can close. Peace fills your soul in the midst of storms. Strength rises within you when you are weak. His blessings overflow, not just for your benefit, but so you can be a blessing to others. So stand tall today, beloved sister. Know that you are chosen, beloved, and favored. Your value is rooted in God's love, and His favor will carry you through every trial and triumph. Walk boldly in this truth, and let your light shine before all people. Favor from God is not something that can be earned or bought by our own efforts. Many people live under the false assumption that if they just do enough good deeds, or if they become perfect in their ways, God's favor will automatically follow. But the truth is that God's favor is a gift, a gracious and unmerited gift. It is not dependent on how many times you've been successful, how many people admire you, or even how good you think you have been. Look at the story of the woman who was healed after touching the hem of Jesus' garment. She was not a woman of great status or wealth. She was broken and desperate, yet Jesus looked upon her with compassion and granted her healing. Why? Not because of her achievements, but because of faith and the grace that flows from God's heart. God's favor works like that. It flows freely to those who turn to Him, regardless of their past or present condition. We often fall into the trap of trying to impress God with our own strength, our own wisdom, or our own righteousness. But the Scriptures remind us that all our righteousness is like filthy rags before Him. It is only through God's mercy and grace that we find favor. This means that you do not have to be perfect or have everything figured out to be favored by God. You do not have to carry the weight of guilt or shame. God's favor is available because of who He is, merciful, loving, and slow to anger. This is a liberating truth for every woman who feels inadequate or unworthy. God's favor does not depend on your achievements, your appearance, or your status. It depends on your willingness to come to Him with a humble and trusting heart. It is His choice, His decision, and His delight to pour out blessings on you, not because you deserve it, but because He loves you deeply. Favor is a divine blessing that cannot be earned by works, but it is received by faith. It is not a prize for the perfect, it is a gift for the repentant, the humble and the faithful. So, when you feel unworthy, remember this: God's favor is not a reward, it is a gift given to those who trust Him, even in their weakness. This is why the psalmist can declare, "Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life," not because of his own perfection, but because of the faithfulness of God. So, dear sister, do not measure yourself by your works or your failures. Instead, rest in the assurance that God's favor is extended to you by His grace alone. It is a favor that lifts you up, strengthens you, and carries you through every challenge. You are favored because God's love is greater than all your shortcomings, and His mercy is new every morning. God's favor is not something random or accidental. It is rooted deeply in the very nature and character of God Himself. When we speak of favor, we must understand that it flows from a God who is full of mercy, compassion, steadfast love, and faithfulness. This is the foundation on which every blessing rests. It is not simply because God is powerful or majestic, but because He is good, and His goodness never fails. The Scriptures paint a beautiful picture of God's heart toward His people. He is described as a father who delights in showing kindness, a shepherd who tenderly cares for his flock, and a king whose throne is established on justice and mercy. His favor is a reflection of His character, unchanging, reliable, and abundant. When God looks upon His children, He does so not with harsh judgment, but with loving kindness. His favor is not a fleeting feeling or a fickle gift. It is a constant, unwavering expression of His nature. Many times, when we face trials or moments of doubt, we question whether God is truly on our side or if He has forgotten us. But the truth is that God's favor is anchored in His eternal promises and His faithful heart. He promised Abraham that He would bless him and make him a blessing, not because Abraham was flawless, but because God is faithful to keep His word. This same faithfulness extends to every woman who places her trust in Him. The mercy of God is another essential part of His favor. Mercy means that God sees our weaknesses and failures but chooses to withhold the punishment we deserve. Instead of condemnation, He offers forgiveness and a new chance. It is this mercy that invites us into His favor, that gives us hope when we feel unworthy. God's favor does not ignore our flaws, it covers them with His grace. It lifts us up when we fall and strengthens us when we are weak. Consider the steadfast love of God, which is often described in the Bible by the Hebrew word, chaste. This love is loyal, covenantal, and enduring. It means God is committed to His people through all seasons, through joy and sorrow, success and struggle. His favor is an expression of this steadfast love. It means that even when the world turns against you, God's heart remains steadfastly toward you. His favor is not based on your circumstances, but on His eternal love. Favor, therefore, is not just about blessings or success. It is a reflection of the goodness of God's nature toward you. It is His way of showing you that you are cherished and valued beyond measure. When you understand this, it changes how you see yourself and your life. You no longer need to chase after favor by your own strength, because favor is already resting on you, born out of the character of the God who loves you. So when you wake up each morning, remember that the favor of God is a steady river flowing from His heart. A heart full of mercy, faithfulness, and steadfast love. It is this favor that will sustain you, guide you, and cover you as you walk through life. And because it comes from God's very nature, it is something you can rely on without fear or hesitation. In the midst of a world that often judges us by outward appearance, status, or accomplishments, it is easy to feel unseen, overlooked, or undervalued. But let me assure you today that God sees you in a way no one else can. He sees your heart, the deepest part of who you are. This is a truth that can transform your entire perspective and fill you with a peace that surpasses understanding. The eyes of the Lord search the whole earth, looking to strengthen those whose hearts are fully His. He does not measure your worth by the world's standards, which are often shallow and fleeting. Instead, God looks beyond what is visible to the human eye and perceives your faith, your sincerity, your struggles, and your potential. You are more than the sum of your past mistakes or your current challenges. You are beloved by the Creator of the universe, who delights in you as His precious daughter. In the Scriptures, King David prayed, "Search me, O God, and know my heart." This was not a cry for condemnation, but a humble invitation for God to know Him fully and to guide him. God honors that kind of openness and vulnerability. When He sees a heart that seeks Him earnestly, He responds with favor and grace. This divine gaze is not one of judgment, but of tender compassion and love. Many women feel invisible or insignificant because they compare themselves to others or because society places value on external success. But God's view is radically different. He treasures the quiet faith, the daily acts of love and kindness, the moments of sacrifice no one else sees. He values your prayers, your tears, your hopes, and your dreams. You are not forgotten or unnoticed. You are deeply known and deeply loved. Understanding that God sees you for who you truly are means that your identity is secure in Him. You do not have to wear masks or strive to impress. You can come as you are, with all your imperfections and uncertainties, and find favor in His eyes. This security allows you to live with confidence and joy, knowing that you are precious to God just as you are. God's favor toward you is a reflection of His intimate knowledge of your heart. It means that when He blesses you, it is because He delights in the real you, the you that sometimes doubts, sometimes fears, but always hopes. His favor covers your weaknesses and uplifts your strengths. It empowers you to walk boldly, knowing you are valued beyond measure. So when you feel unseen by the world, remember that God sees you fully and loves you completely. His favor rests on you because you are His treasured child. This truth will sustain you, encourage you, and remind you daily that you are never alone or forgotten. God's gaze is fixed on you with love, and His favor follows you all the days of your life. When God's favor rests upon you, it is not just a feeling or a vague notion. It is a powerful reality that changes your life in tangible ways. His favor brings divine opportunities and protection that no human hand can open or close. It is a supernatural blessing that moves before you, preparing the way and making paths where there seem to be none. Many times we find ourselves facing closed doors, walls of difficulty, and circumstances that seem impossible to overcome. But the favor of God is like a key that unlocks doors of opportunity, provision, and breakthrough. When He favors you, He opens doors that no one else can open, and no one can shut them. This means you can walk forward with confidence, knowing that God is going before you, clearing obstacles, and placing divine connections and resources in your path. Favor also brings protection. Life is full of challenges, temptations, and dangers, but God's favor is a shield around you. It guards your heart, your mind, your reputation, and your purpose. When you are favored, you may still face trials, but you will never face them alone or without the sustaining power of God's grace. His favor protects you from harm in ways that are often unseen but deeply felt. It keeps you from destruction, preserves your integrity, and guards your destiny. Moreover, favor brings peace to your soul. In the midst of chaos and uncertainty, when storms rage around you, the favor of God is a calm presence. It steadies your heart and mind so that you can stand firm and not be shaken. This peace is not dependent on your circumstances, but is a gift that flows from knowing God's favor is upon you. It is the peace that surpasses all understanding, guarding your heart and mind in Christ Jesus. Favor also brings strength when you feel weak. There are moments in life when your energy runs low, your hope flickers, and you feel ready to give up. Yet, God's favor breathes new life into you. It renews your strength like the eagle's wings, enabling you to rise above challenges and keep moving forward. This strength is not just physical, but spiritual and emotional, a divine empowerment that sustains you day by day. In all of these ways, God's favor is a mighty force that transforms your circumstances. It is not something you create or manufacture. It is a gift given freely by a loving God who delights in blessing His children. When you recognize the favor of God upon your life, you can walk boldly into the future, knowing that no weapon formed against you will prosper, and every step you take is under His divine guidance. Favor is not simply about receiving blessings for yourself. It is also about being equipped and empowered to bless others. When God opens doors for you, He does so that you may extend that blessing to your family, your community, and beyond. His favor turns your life into a testimony of His goodness and grace, inspiring others to trust in Him as well. So, beloved sister, when you feel the weight of the world pressing down on you, remember this: the favor of God brings opportunities you cannot earn, protection you cannot buy, peace that calms every storm, and strength that lifts you above every trial. It is a divine blessing designed to carry you through life's darkest valleys and into the fullness of God's promises. God's favor is closely connected to the way we walk with Him, how we seek Him, how we live before Him, and how we humble ourselves in His presence. Favor is not a magic charm that works apart from our hearts or actions. Instead, it is drawn to those who sincerely seek God with all their heart and who walk humbly and faithfully in His ways. The Bible reminds us that the Lord gives grace and glory. No good thing does He withhold from those who walk uprightly. Walking uprightly means living in integrity, honesty, and faithfulness. It means turning away from pride and selfish ambition and instead submitting your life to God's will. When you choose to walk humbly with God, you align yourself with His purposes and His favor naturally follows. Humility is a key that opens the door to God's favor. It is the recognition that we need Him every moment, that apart from Him, we can do nothing. This humility is not weakness, but strength under control, a willingness to trust God's plan, even when it does not match our own understanding. It is the posture of a heart ready to receive, learn, and be shaped by the loving hand of God. Seeking God with your whole heart means prioritizing your relationship with Him above all else. It means setting aside time to pray, to study His Word, and to listen for His voice. It means trusting Him in the dark places, when answers are slow to come, and when the path ahead seems uncertain. The woman who seeks God earnestly is like a tree planted by streams of water, constantly nourished, growing strong, and bearing fruit in every season. Favor is also connected to obedience. When we choose to obey God's commands and live according to His principles, we demonstrate our trust and love for Him. Obedience is not about legalism or burden, but about walking in the freedom of His guidance. God delights in those who obey Him because it shows that they value His wisdom above their own desires. And where obedience goes, favor flows. At times, walking humbly and seeking God wholeheartedly requires perseverance. The journey of faith is not always easy. There will be moments of struggle, doubt, and even pain. Yet, those who persist in seeking God, who refuse to give up, are those who experience the richest measure of His favor. Their lives become testimonies of God's faithfulness, and their hearts are filled with His peace and joy. When you live a life marked by humility, sincere seeking, and obedient trust, you position yourself to receive God's favor continually. It is not a one-time blessing, but a flowing river that nourishes every part of your life. You become a woman who moves with God's blessing upon her, opening doors, inspiring others, and walking confidently into the future He has prepared. So, dear sister, embrace the journey of walking humbly with God and seeking Him with all your heart. In doing so, you will find His favor resting upon you, guiding you, and empowering you to fulfill your God-given destiny. God's favor is not only a blessing meant for your personal benefit, it is a blessing designed to overflow from your life and touch the lives of others. When you experience the favor of God, it transforms you into a channel of His goodness, mercy, and love. You become a source of encouragement, hope, and blessing to those around you. Favor empowers you to be a light in dark places, to uplift the weary, and to bring joy where there is sorrow. It equips you to serve others with a generous heart and to meet needs that seem beyond human reach. This is part of the beautiful purpose behind God's favor. It is given not just for you, but through you to bless your family, your community, and even strangers you may never meet. Think of the woman in the Bible who was favored by God and how her life became a testimony that inspired many. Her story was not about receiving blessings for herself alone, but about how God's favor changed her and made her a blessing in her sphere of influence. God's favor can open doors for you to share His love, to encourage those who are struggling, and to bring hope to the hopeless. When you live in the favor of God, your words carry weight, your actions reflect His grace, and your presence becomes a source of comfort and strength to others. People will see the difference in you, not because of outward appearances, but because God's favor has touched your heart and empowered your life. This is how favor multiplies. It is a blessing that flows outward, creating a ripple effect of kindness, generosity, and faith. Moreover, being favored by God calls you to responsibility. It means that you are entrusted with gifts, opportunities, and influence that should be used to glorify God and uplift others. Favor is not a ticket to selfish gain or pride, but a sacred trust to be faithful in all you do. As you walk in favor, remember that your life is a testament to God's goodness, and your actions can inspire others to seek Him as well. This outward flow of favor is a powerful testimony of God's love in action. It shows the world that God's blessings are not just for the privileged or powerful, but for those who love Him and walk in His ways. When your life reflects God's favor, you become a living witness of His mercy and faithfulness, drawing others to the hope and salvation found in Him. So, beloved sister, embrace the favor of God not just as a personal blessing, but as a sacred calling to bless others. Let your life overflow with His goodness, and watch as God uses you to be a beacon of light, hope, and love in this world. In doing so, you fulfill the highest purpose of His favor, bringing glory to God and blessing to many. So, my dear sisters, as you go forth from this moment, carry this truth deep within your heart. You are a woman God favors, not because of what you have done or who you are by the world's standards, but because of who God is, faithful, loving, and gracious beyond measure. His favor rests upon you like a shield and a crown, empowering you to face each day with courage, peace, and hope. Remember that God's favor is your strength when you are weak, your light when the path is dark, and your joy in every season. It lifts you, protects you, and opens doors no one can close. And as you walk in that favor, may your life be a testimony of His goodness, a blessing to your family, your community, and to all those who cross your path. So stand tall and walk boldly, knowing that you are cherished, chosen, and deeply loved by the God of heaven. His favor will go before you and follow you all the days of your life. Believe this, live it, and let your light shine, because you are a woman God favors. May God's abundant grace and favor be with you always.